Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys all had a lovely Labor Day weekend. I'm Mayor Eli Beckman. We've got Town Manager Todd Cusimano, Assistant Town Manager and Town Clerk Rebecca Vaughn, Public Works Director RJ Succo, and Fire Chief Ruben Martin on the line here to answer your guys' questions. I don't really have too much to say in our general update. We got kind of a false alarm over the weekend. It was looking like we were going to graduate to the next tier of like loosened restrictions for COVID, and then that turned out to be a little bit of a false alarm. So we're hoping later this week, fingers crossed, we'll see. I'll let Todd cover that. We've had a couple blackouts throughout town over the weekend that RJ may want to touch on. And I'm sure that Ruben's probably got plenty for us given the crazy heat and the fires we're seeing, the smoke. Thank God it wasn't too windy this weekend. But are we still under a red flag right now, Ruben?
Yeah, we're on until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay, yeah. So we'll just have to keep being careful there. And I think probably a lot of us saw the news about that gender reveal party in Southern California. They had some pyrotechnics that went wrong and started this wildfire that's now, at last I saw, I think it was like 30,000 acres or something. So the moral of that story is be super careful. Anything you're doing that's flammable outdoors, now is just not the time to be taking those chances. Anyways, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Todd and the rest of the crew here for some updates before we get to your guys' questions.
All right, thank you, boss. Actually, let's start it with Ruben again, since we're in the heat of fire season, and then RJ, if you have any updates on projects or on PG&E, and then Rebecca for all of our work on our communications plan. Rebecca's been busy. If there's anything, Rebecca, you want to share there, and then I just have a quick update at the end.
So. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Eli. Welcome, members of the public. Yeah, as you can see, we've been under a red flag warning since yesterday. It should go until tomorrow, 8 a.m. And the biggest driver with that, not necessarily was the temperature, but the wind that was expected with the high temperatures. Excuse me. Yeah, they were expecting, 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds in the hilltops. We experienced some of that last night in Sonoma County, where the Wall Bridge fire, which is up in the Russian River area, kind of jumped the containment line. So they issued new evacuation orders, which they were able to contain it this morning, which is good. Which kind of brings us to a good reminder here back at home is that, like Mayor Beckman was saying, is there was a large vegetation fire that was started in East LA County, kind of San Bernardino area, by a gender reveal. Good intentions with the public. They're trying to have fun. They're having a baby. Unfortunately, they were using the wrong methods in the wrong location at the wrong time. And which for us kind of reminds us of, especially some of the things that we do on the weekends, is we want to go out, do our yard work and do some mowing and whatnot. We want to make sure we do that anytime before 10 a.m. when it's cooler out. And anytime after 10 o'clock in the morning on these hot days, it's better off stay indoors, stay hydrated, do something else productive. It's a great opportunity for you and your family members to review your evacuation plans. Make sure that you're signed up for all of your alerts. And part of signing up for your alerts is making sure that your phones are turned on to accept those alerts. A good reminder, especially for members of our community that live within these vulnerable one-in, one-way out areas, for example, Christmas Tree Hill. Red flag days are a good reminder to remember to park your vehicles in the direction of travel, which means you may want to park going downhill, back into your garages. Make sure you know how to open your garage manually. Make sure you check on your neighbors, make sure they have a plan in place. And when you get the alert to either an evacuation warning, make sure you leave early. And if you ever feel like you're unsafe or aren't in a good location, this may be a good time, and I know COVID isn't ideal for it, but it may be a time to get out of Christmas Tree Hill and maybe stay in a hotel or stay with friends that are lower on the hillside or down in the flats.
Hey, Ruben, would you walk us real quick through the major channels of emergency notification and how we can sign up for them?
Sure. So it's start thinking about, there's methods of the way we notify you. There's either through social media, which is your Nextdoor, your Facebook, your Instagram, and so forth. Just think of those as just informational bulletins. We're just letting you know what's going on. That's not the mode that we're going to let you know on where you need to take action. If we need you to take action, whether it's shelter in place, meaning stay where you're at, or find a safe location where you can shelter, an evacuation warning or evacuation order is going to come through Alert Marin. And through that, you want to sign up through alertmarin.org, which is through the Marin County Sheriff's Office. You're going to want to sign up all your cell phones, which means yours and all those members that are within your household, which may be your teenage children, your younger children. Make sure they're also getting the alerts in the event that you're not home. And then the other one is your Nixle alerts or your Everbridge, which you're going to want to text your zip code to 888-777, and you're going to get informational bulletins on what's going on in the area based on your geographical zip code. Once again, Nixle is information. Alert Marin means that we want you to take action, which means one of those three: shelter in place, a warning, or an order.
That's great, Ruben. Thanks so much. That's really helpful.
Okay. RJ, you want to jump in on any projects and progress and some of the issues we continue to work through with PG&E?
Sure. You know, we are aware that power did go out in the Marin Estates neighborhood as well as Mariner Cove on Sunday. So we requested a follow-up meeting with PG&E to discuss what their new action plan is. And, you know, I just also invited our representative from the California Public Utilities Commission to make sure that they're doing everything possible. And so we'll push for a meeting here in the next week and hope that we get some better results this time around. So hang tight, you know, work with us, and we'll try to get through this. And then separately, yeah, we're plugging away at some projects, making, you know, some headway. Tamil Vista is just about completed. We've got some, you know, minor things to finish up, but the road was paved and it's either about to be striped or was just striped. So it's looking good, and, you know, tons of more projects still going, but happy with what we've seen to date. So
Thanks, RJ. Tamil Vista is looking really good so far. And I just want to note that we are joined also by Adam Wolf, our Director of Planning and Building. He got a haircut, so we're going to have a little less to talk about this week. But anyway, Adam, Rebecca, Todd, if you guys have any updates that you'd like to give, please go ahead. Oh, you're muted, Todd.
Sorry about that. Thanks. Rebecca, you want to jump in and give a quick update on the communications work?
I did. I was going to thank everyone for reading our weekly newsletter and for all of the supportive comments and constructive feedback that we've received. We launched it about 6 weeks ago. You can sign up on the town's website if you don't already receive it. It is in the newsflash carousel, and there may also be a pop-up form that shows up when you visit townofcortemadera.org. We also launched our Facebook page approximately a month ago, and you can find that at Town of Corte Madera if you search for Town of Corte Madera or at sign Town of Corte Madera. Staff is also working this week to have an item on the next council meeting agenda to approve our social media policy and also give an update on our communications plan and some other things that staff has been working on, along with introducing the council to our town mission statement, which the council will be asked to weigh in on and approve.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. You guys are doing incredible work with the whole communications overhaul there. One question I just remembered, I know that when we launched our Facebook page, we also saw that there was like a pre-existing Town of Corte Madera Facebook page that was not actually run by anyone. It was like automatically generated by Facebook, but I think there was some confusion between which was like the town's official page and which was the, you know, automatically generated one. Were we able to get that resolved? And
not yet.
Okay.
Our town page has to be verified.
Okay.
I'm working on doing with that. I haven't heard back yet, but as soon as it's verified, I can request to have that pre-existing informational page absorbed into our page or eliminated.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I will hopefully have an update for you next week.
Sweet.
Okay. And then I just quickly, just a couple quick updates. We thought on Friday we had been notified, the county had been notified by the state that we were moving from the purple tier to the red tier, which means that we could start to slowly open up restaurants indoor and beauty salons and such. And kind of at the 11th hour on Sunday night, there was a meeting held at 9 p.m. Actually, Julie Kritzberger, our executive director of our Chamber of Commerce, and myself were on the call with the county. And for a variety of reasons, we actually were notified at the 11th hour that we're going to stay at the purple tier moving into today. And so obviously that has a huge effect on the restaurants that thought they could open up and the businesses that thought they could open up. And there's a variety of reasons for it. One of them, though, and I was pleased to hear from our county health official, this wasn't his decision. We rely on the state. The state gets to dictate when we open and when we don't. And so the county health official is handling this pretty aggressively and safely, I think he's handling it well, but he's engaged the state, and we hope to have an answer by Friday on if we can move to the red tier or not. And so this is going to be a day-to-day thing leading up to Friday. One of the key components that caused us some problems, we're such a small county with the amount of testing we do. We had a small spike in a facility in Novato that kind of skewed our numbers. And also the state has a different set of numbers than the county. The county's numbers that we have that are actually 100% accurate are lower than what the state has. So there's a couple ways that our county health officials working with the state to see if we could be considered for the red tier by Friday. And so we hope to hear back. Julie and I are on a call actually following this call at 5 o'clock to get an update, and we'll stay engaged and keep you all updated as we go. And so obviously we want to be safe, but it's really hard when we tell businesses that they can open up and then, at the 11th hour, tell them, sorry, you can't. It's a big deal for them. And so we know that, and Julie has been great. She's taken the lead for us within Corte Madera and the county. And so we're lucky to have her. And so how we handled it really today is we were hands off. If they opened, we allowed them to open, but we're going to have to engage our businesses now between now and Friday to get more of some finality. And really the issue is if the county health official wasn't as aggressive as he is, talking to the state, when they announce at the start of the week, whatever tier you're going to be in this case, we would be purple. We could stay that way for 2 to 3 weeks, whether it's valid or not. And obviously we have a lot of businesses, we want to be safe, but we have a lot of businesses teetering right now. And so we want to do all we can as safely as we can. And so there's a lot going on there. There was a press release. It's in the IJ right now. If anybody wants to read it or has any questions, Julie's probably better prepared to answer those questions, so we can have her jump on this call as well and answer any questions as we go through this meeting. And then just last 2 other things. On our upcoming council meeting, we're going to have an unaudited financial report, and that's basically the closing of fiscal year 1920. When all this happened, we talked about this a few months ago, I think back in April. We were really projecting a $2.2 million deficit this last fiscal year to really start something that we've never seen before with the closure of our commercial businesses. And due to a variety of maneuvers within the town and some really ingenuity by our top 25 sales tax business earners, we actually closed the fiscal year with a $179,000 deficit. And so that's a $2.1 million reversal. And so, Daria is not on the call right now, but she's, getting a great Christmas present from me this year for all of her work. And also that deficit also takes into account a $1 million deposit into our pension trust fund from a surplus of funds from the previous year, a $3 million surplus. So if you really take that portion out of, if you take that amount out of the equation, we had about an $800,000 surplus last year. So that's the good news. But as you know, this is unprecedented time, and it's all hands on deck this fiscal year to do everything we can to protect our revenue streams. And I think we're off to a good start this first quarter. And again, a lot of people ask, because it's happening across the Bay Area, are we going to raise taxes? What are we going to do to keep this going? And like we've said at the council level, we were prepared for this. We had a plan. It took us 4 years to get there. It started with our finance subcommittee. One of them is on the call right now, I believe, Larry Reed. And we were prepared for this. And so there's no intent to raise taxes. We are in as good shape as we could possibly hope for. And so that'll be the first kind of staff report update for the council and the community. Obviously, we'll come back with a fully audited financials as we go on. And then we'll give a mid-year report probably in November, December to the council on how we're doing this fiscal year. But so far, so good there. And then lastly, we talked about at the council meeting, we lost some really special people this year. And it's more than the 3 that I'm going to mention. I think it's 6 or 7 right now that have meant a lot to our community, but 3 really have touched me personally and professionally over the years. Jackie Branch passed away recently, Harry Shriebman and Clyde Marquardt. And I just feel like we talked about this with the mayor, when we come out of this COVID-19 to some sort of normalcy, I think the town is prepared to do something really special for those that we've lost this past year that meant so much to us, and celebrate their life, at a town park and do something really neat. And so look out for that. And if anyone on this call or in the community has any ideas of how we can do that, we're all ears. We want to do something special and really celebrate some really amazing community members, that have passed. Really sad. So with that, that's all I have right now, boss.
Thanks so much, Todd. That was really helpful. I also just wanted to highlight that Jackie Branch was among the residents who were just honored by age-friendly Corte Madera a couple weeks ago as part of our annual honoration of all of our residents aged 90 and over. So we're really sorry to lose her. Annette Shriebman was also one of the honorees, the widow of Harry Shriebman. So, we're feeling for her right now and the loss that she's gone through this year. So just thank you, Todd, for drawing attention to those residents. And I'm really looking forward to what we're going to put together when circumstances allow us to give, these kind of legendary residents the send-off they deserve. So thank you very much for that. Also wanted to thank you and Julie for, like you said, the incredible work that you guys are doing on keeping on top of the incredibly dynamic COVID situation right now. Julie's Chamber of Commerce newsletters are a personal, I rely on that as a source of information about what's going on with COVID. So I know Julie's on the line. Thank you so much for putting that out and really being upfront and proactive with the communication. It's so helpful to me and other members of the community to be able to see, what's going on. So thank you guys both for that. With that, we're going to go ahead and start taking questions. So anybody who's on the line, if you've got a question you want to ask or just a comment you want to share with us, please go ahead and put your hand up. We got a couple hands up already, so we'll go ahead and start with Barbara.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I didn't know I was first. We'll start out by saying, looking good, Adam. That's all, looking good. I'm sorry, I knew about Harry Shriebman. I did not know about Jackie Branch and Clyde Marquardt, and all 3 of these people were towering figures in the community. So I agree with Todd. We should definitely do something once things get back to normal. Just a little feedback regarding the noise ordinance. I know there are a lot of more important things going on, but I think you want to know what's really going on in terms of changes. So there still are some people in my neighborhood, which is the corner of Redwood and Willow near the park. There are a number of people who are still using noisy machinery outside of hours. So I think a little more public education maybe is in store. I'm talking about table saws, chainsaws. These are kind of like ear-shattering kind of machines, and they're often doing them after 5 o'clock, even on weekends. So it's pretty annoying. And there are a few landscapers who are still using the gas-powered leaf blowers at private residences. As I understand, they're allowed to do it at multi-dweller residences to use the gas leaf blowers, but not at private residences.
Is that true? Did we make that exception, guys?
Yeah, I have to go back. Originally it was recommended that, remember that we exempt. Did you look at it, Barbara? Because
no, I haven't looked at it lately. I thought maybe you would know. I should have looked at it before I made the comment. But anyway.
We originally recommended it, but I don't think so. I don't think you're allowed to.
I don't. Yeah, I think we got rid of the exceptions.
Okay, well then there are a lot of gas leak blowers still being used right at my corner. So, and then the other thing is the mask law and the leash law in the park. I had a confrontation shortly after 5 o'clock last Thursday with a man in the park by the duck pond behind Neil Cummings. His dog was unleashed. He was talking on the phone. He was not wearing a mask. And it was just the two of us on the path. His dog was going after an egret in the duck pond because he was busy talking on the phone and not paying attention. So I said to him, you need to leash that dog. And he started making fun of me and getting belligerent. And I said, it is the law in Corte Madera, you need to leash your dog. And he said, you know, I walk this dog here every evening. She owns this path. I have never used a leash on my dog. So there are a lot of entitled people in Marin, and there are in this community. What I've noticed is that after hours, there are a lot of people who live in the condos and apartments on Redwood and Pixley, and they kind of treat the park as their own backyard. And that's when a lot of the unleashed dogs are being taken into the park. So I think it's time for a little more enforcement, after hours enforcement. I know Mike Moriarty is not here, but I'd suggest maybe he do a little more after hours enforcement. And when I finally did point out that the guy wasn't wearing a mask either, he did admit that he should have worn a mask, and he turned around to go home and get his mask. But, you know, I think we still need to educate people about that. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing those points up, Barbara. These are all things that we've been working recently on kind of increasing our education and our enforcement on. Todd's been doing a great job with all of these issues. But you're totally right. You know, there's more to be done. We've had CMPA out in the park patrolling a couple times over the last weeks, just mainly I think for mask issues. But, you know, I think Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure if they're out and they see, you know, other sorts of violations, they might also speak up. So maybe we do kind of tailor those to more evening hours or something. I'm not sure, but thank you for letting us know what's going on. Okay, but again, I know there are more important things going on. So, you know, it's all important. It's all important is the reality of it. So thank you very much, Barbara.
Yeah, thanks for all your hard work, everyone. Okay.
Our pleasure. All right, next is going to be Lucinda.
Good evening. Can you hear me all?
Yes.
Okay. Todd, I wonder if you could give a few of the numbers for the COVID for just Corte Madera. Is that information that you have?
Yes, I think how many people have tested positive for COVID? Is that the question, Lucinda?
Yeah, tested positive, and I mean, are we an active community continuing to have the problem, or is it abating? I just was wondering what the feeling was, because I think people are getting kind of resistant to continue with the mask and the protocol.
Yeah.
That feeling.
I'm just sorry, I'm looking at my other computer to see if I can pull it up. I know that when going back a few weeks, we jumped to about in the mid 50s. And right now I believe we're at, Rebecca, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're at 61, 63 total confirmed cases. And it's really kind of stayed in that range over the, say that again?
For the county?
No, for Corte Madera.
Oh, 61 to 63. Got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 60. I'm sorry. So,
I was like, wait a minute.
I was thinking, wow.
Our total cases for Corte Madera, I believe, are in the 61 to 63 range.
I thought it was a little bit higher, but let me check.
Is it? She saw. It might be. Let me look. Let's see.
And in the meantime,
I thought we were in the 70s.
We really haven't spiked. We haven't seen a spike in Corte Madera. You know, if you go look back at the last, 5 weeks, we jumped to like the low 50s. And again, we might be at 7. Let's see, I'm right here, 63. 63 is our number. Larkspur's one.
Last week or this, or how recent was that?
Today.
Oh,
today,
okay.
as of today.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, Lucinda, to the point that you're raising, I know you're not one of the people who questions the reason that we're all still doing this, but I know that those people are out there. And I'll just say, like, I personally know, frankly, very few people who have gotten coronavirus. And we're lucky that our community is not one of the epicenters in Marin and is not one of the places that's been driving, the spike in our kind of retrenchment onto the state watch list. But at the same time, I think everybody who's on this call gets it. I know you guys all do, but it's important that we, I think, reiterate to these folks when we encounter them that it's our wearing masks and it's our maintaining social distance that is the reason that Corte Madera is not part of the problem. So it is tempting to say, look, we don't see a lot of cases here in Corte Madera, we can ease up, but really that is just so the wrong approach. And I know you guys all know this, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate, I feel that that's important.
Well, I try to do my part too, and it gets frustrating, like Barbara said, when there's an entitled soul that doesn't feel the same.
Right, absolutely.
I wanted to also do a shout out for Todd Landau. He has done an absolutely fantastic job of getting the hillside across from, there's 4 of us on Sausalito that do our job every year to color our hillside. And the people across the street, or the owners across the street, would do just the minimum and just clear the required 10 feet because it's expensive, and I understand that. But he got a grant and has done not only that portion of a Sausalito Street, but further on down the hill to make sure that it's not going to be all of a sudden a dead stop. Anyway, I just think he's done an amazing job, and it's been the first time that hill's ever been cleaned. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And then the last thing, I just wanted to ask, is there a list that we could get on for the Chamber of Commerce newsletter? It sounded like that was something the community could be, part of.
Yes, I think absolutely. And maybe could we get, I don't know if Julie's open to it, but maybe we could get her on here real fast just to let us all know how we can invite folks to subscribe to that. Julie, if you are willing to just chat real briefly, talk to us, you don't have to put on your camera, but if you could just raise your hand if you're willing to just talk to us real fast and let us know how we can subscribe, then I would love to get you on here so folks on the line can hear if they're interested in subscribing to your awesome newsletter. We'll see here if a hand goes up. She may also be on a phone, in which case it's always tougher to put your hand up. So we'll see. Lucinda, if we don't get it verbally on this call, I'll follow up with you via email and let you know, and we'll figure that out.
Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, anything else?
No, I just wanted to say thank you again for all that you're doing. It's amazing, and I wish everybody would get on this call and realize it so that they could know what a great town government we have. Thank you.
That is so sweet of you. Thank you, Lucinda. And we will pass on your kind words for Todd Landau. He is a recent and very valuable addition to the team, so we're all thrilled to have him. All right, thank you, Lucinda. We'll go to Peter, then Dorsey, then Susie.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was having a little dexterity issue with the cursor. Yeah, I do also want to echo, appreciate what the town government's been doing and the increased communication and transparency. And actually watch you guys on the public access channel on my cable TV late in the evening watching some of the meetings I've missed. So it's a fair amount of entertainment value and good information. So appreciative of that. But a couple things, the leaf blower discussion, I'm wondering if there's some literature or pamphlets that I can get or download to pass out to neighbors so they can hand it to their landscapers regarding if they don't follow the ordinances, just kind of take a proactive, non-confrontational approach, saying, "Hey, I was listening into the community chat, and were you aware of this? And I'd hate to see you guys get into trouble. Please pass this to your landscaper." That kind of route. So I was wondering if there's any material that I could obtain for that. And then the other thing that is really rewarding to see is the expansion of restaurant dining areas into the street parking so the businesses can remain vital. One challenge that I see is I was trying to walk by Burmatown, and I think we might need a little educational help and minor enforcement because their shade sails are strung at slightly above 6 feet tall. So if you're 6'2", you could get clotheslined. So they might need, some of these businesses might need a little best practices guidance on some of that stuff so we don't run into any issues. And then lastly, or second to lastly, I don't know, have you had discussions about how to maintain this vitality of these businesses moving into the colder weather? Maybe possible assistance with infrared heaters or some way, because I can't imagine people wearing parkas and trying to dine outside. And then the last thing I'll mention is the disparity between driving through Corte Madera and seeing the adherence to masking versus when I get in the Larkspur, it's like they're in a, I hate to say it, of our sister community, they seem to be in a different environment where the practices fall apart and that the dining is so incredibly close together and very few people wear masks. I'm concerned about, since we're twin communities, potential problems down the road because of that, since our residents don't stop at our border. So with that, thanks for all your efforts.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. I can take the first couple and anyone else wants to jump in. And again, I wanted Rebecca help me. My number was wrong on the total confirmed cases. So our population of about 250,000 residents in Marin, to date, Corte Madera has 86 confirmed cases. So that's our number today. And if you looked at the trends over the last 6 weeks, you've seen it's just a couple of added each time. And so we haven't had a huge spike, but we are continuing to increase as compared to our sister city in Larkspur. They've had 130 cases, confirmed cases, to San Rafael's 1,753 as comparison. Peter brought up, do we have any literature? Rebecca, Rebecca can handle that. We haven't actually made, we were talking about making some 3x5 cards like we had with the barking dog ordinance to educate people to hand out. I'm not sure that we've done that yet, but we've talked about it. But we do have links and literature available to the public that you could use. But I'm going to defer to Rebecca, our communications expert on that.
Yes, we haven't made the 3x5 cards, but we do have literature available. There's, I don't know if I can share this briefly. This is what's currently available on the town's website. Is that showing up for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
It's
great.
In Spanish flyer.
Good job.
That's been on our website for a couple months now. And you can find that, let me get out of this. There you are. If you go to the town's website and in the search bar on the upper right-hand side, if you just start typing leaf blower, it self-populates with a lot of different options. Every staff report, every hearing item, every news flash, but the second item that comes up does say leaf blower flyer.
Perfect.
It's only available there, but I can email it to Peter directly. I'll do that right now.
Great. And thanks, Rebecca. And then Peter, That's something that our staff has been talking about as the weather starts to change. You know, what is the next evolution of decision making to help our businesses? And you know, Adam and RJ have really been proactive in that. Adam, their team had recently submitted a grant through the Transportation Authority of Marin. I believe it was for $15,000, Adam, ish.
Yeah, 20,000.
20,000. So $20,000, and it could be for, just like you said, heaters, tables, chairs, tents. And so we're looking at right now identifying, you know, the town also is committed to helping our business owners as well with that. So we're starting to engage Cafe Verde and others, you know, as the weather will start to change to help them out, you know, to support them. And so we are very proactive in that. And I thank RJ and Adam and their teams for, you know, for being proactive in that way. And then what else did we have on? Peter, you brought up one other thing.
The shade structure, which I'm sure Public Works or code enforcement can just reach out, give them a little tap on that. What else? Did we miss anything, Peter?
Just any communication with Larkspur's government, because it's night and day. But when you go between the towns, I got to tell you, it's scary.
Interesting.
Yeah, you know,
well,
yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Just all cities and towns aren't created equal, and how we, you know, not to say one is better than the other, but I think, you know, they're just not. And so not everyone has a Rebecca or an RJ and Adam, or, you know, Ruben Martin does serve both. So that's good for fire.
Yeah.
But we do talk, all of the managers and all the directors in the county as well, they all talk on a weekly basis to try to be as streamlined as possible. So if someone has a good idea, we all try to incorporate that. Or especially on this education enforcement conversation that you're talking about, we're trying so hard to be consistent as possible. To that point, that Larkspur actually recently asked to use our code enforcement officer to help them on a couple of their compliance issues. And I think what you're going to hear, and you've heard it about the noise ordinance and all these other ordinance violations, I think what we're going to have to do is come back to council and really set aside about 100,000 annually to have code enforcement, you know, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know, and to do something like this, because that's just where we are, you know, in both education and enforcement. And it makes me ill to even recommend that, to be honest with you, but that's where we're at. And it's one of our #1 issues, quality of life issues. We hear it all the time right now. Look what we're going through, and it's our #1 issue still. So I think that's ultimately what we're going to have to do in the coming months, back to council. But right now we have the police authority that are doing operations on this on a routine basis. And we also have the police authority going out 2 to 3 times a day to our town park to educate and enforce the leash laws. I mean, that's happening right now. And it's still not even close to being enough. I just walked through there with our Parks and Rec director, and we saw 2 violations, and we had to stand there and, you know, until someone put the leash on their dog. And so it's happening routinely. So it's an issue. So we're trying.
Yeah, and Todd, thanks for highlighting that. You know, I think $100 grand, you know, for code enforcement is, you know, that's maybe not what we think of when we think of, like, you know, the small town vibe, but at the same time, it's a pretty good use of money when we think about the fact that that is all work that our police department is being asked to do right now. And frankly, Central Police has much, you know, they've got better things to be doing than going out and telling folks to put their dogs on leashes. So I think it is a good use of resources in that it frees up the police to be doing more of their kind of mission critical work, because they're getting a lot of calls about these issues right now. Anyway, thank you, Peter. We're going to go ahead and move along here. We got several more hands up. So we're going to go to Dorsey, then Susie, then James. I've been seeing a couple other hands go up and down. So hopefully, oh, Rebecca, yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Beckman. While you're unmuting the next person, I just wanted to let you know that Julie wrote me a quick email and said that she is happy to add anyone that would like to receive the chamber newsletter. They can email her at julie@cortemadera.org.
Perfect. Okay, great. So email julie@cortemadera.org if you would like to subscribe to the chamber's awesome newsletter. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Julie. And we'll get Dorsey on here now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, cool. Okay, well, I thought that I would be able to spare you my speaking today, but you folks brought it up. The recognition of the luminaries, as far as Harry Shriebman is concerned, of course, our mayor knows him very well. However, Skip Fidanzo, Phyllis, and I really shouldn't speak for them, but I suspect that they would be more than happy to provide insights because we worked with Harry for some time and miss him tremendously. So if we could provide some insight into whatever you're planning for him. I am not impressed with the people who are supposed to be wearing masks. If any one of you wants to take a walk with me early in the morning to see how many people on Bayside do not wear masks, I invite you to do so. I ditto the compliments to Todd Lando and to all of you. Once again, thank you. I think that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dorsey. I'm sure that we would love to have your help and Skip and Phyllis if they're willing when we start putting together some sort of honoration for specifically for Harry. And then same thing goes for any other residents who have known well any of our luminaries who have passed. If you want to reach out and just kind of help us shape whatever we put together so that we can honor them as best we can, that would be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much, Dorsey. We'll go ahead and go to Susie now.
Hi, you guys. I'm sorry I missed you earlier because I know I missed the main show, so I'll have to catch up with someone else. But I just
it's always on YouTube. Just remember.
That's right. Really, I just wanted to say that people want to subscribe to the Chamber of Commerce newsletter, but I would most encourage them to join the Chamber because when you are a member, you do get that newsletter. And if the community wants to support the businesses, that's just another way of doing it. I certainly do not have a business in Corte Madera, but I did join the Chamber a few years ago when I noticed that there are a few of us that are members that don't have businesses. So it's a great way to support, that's all. And when Julie didn't come on right away, I just felt I had to say that. So thank you guys so much. And oh, Ruben, my God, the fire situation, my heart just, it thumps when I think about what's going through all of you. It's shattering. And thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much, Susie. Yeah, did you want to say something? No? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Susie. And I just wanted to say that also my own company has just recently joined the Chamber of Commerce. So we're, Corte Madera has a really robust, vibrant business community. And I am proud that my company has joined that. And I just, I'm amazed by the work the Chamber is doing. And I appreciate, and I know Julie appreciates that plug there. So thank you very much, Susie. We will go to James next.
Hi there. This is a little weird issue, I think, in that about 3 or 4 weeks ago on Nextdoor, there were a whole bunch of posts about the signage in Town Center on the exit that turns onto Tamalpais, or that goes out to Tamalpais Drive. And the issue was that the outside lane, you turn right. The middle lane has a sign on it that says 101 South only. And the internal, or the inside lane has a sign on it that says 101 North only. I'd never paid any attention to this before until I saw these posts, but one poster was trying to make the point that if you were in the 101 South lane, which would be the middle lane, that you can only go on to 101 South because it says only 101 South. The other lane says only 101 north. Well, none of this makes much sense because it's easy to turn from the 101 south only lane and go over the overpass and get onto 101 north. In fact, that's the most expedient exit to get on 101 north. And it's also the least dangerous one because you don't have to switch lanes there. And if you actually followed the sign and only 101 and only 101, there's no way that you could actually go east on to Paradise Drive and so forth. So it's very confusing. And one of the posters said that the police said that if you're in the 101 south lane and you didn't go 101 south and you happen to get in an accident, you could be in trouble for that because you're violating the rules. So personally, I think there's something wrong with the signage, and I don't know who's responsible for it because it's on the town center property, but it shouldn't be 101. The only part is what confuses things. Only 101 south and only 101 north. And I wish somebody would take a look at that. And you might want to go back and look at the posts on next door. They were, I think, about mid-August. I think if you put in something like left turn lane or something, you'll be able to find them.
Sure. Yep. That is. I've noticed that myself. I don't know if any of our staff members here want to speak to that real quick, or if that's something we want to just look into and follow up offline.
Yeah, hi, this is RJ Suko. I'd be happy to take a look at it and see if there's any, revisions or edits we can make to make that, more streamlined and better wayfinding and obviously safer.
Hey, RJ, and to our previous conversations too, that's the intersection that has that big dip that people have talked about too. I know you're so busy on your workload, but when you go out there, I think the turn lanes, the issue is the only, as James said, because then you're right, if they don't obey that, it's a violation of a marking, a sign or a marking. And so that, I think that could be confusing. So it'd just be the only, and then also remember the dip issue there. It might be that the town center has sunk a little bit and, Paradise or Tamalpais is a little bit higher, I'm not sure, but there's always been that kind of difficult dip. So those would be the two.
Yeah. Happy to look for this.
Thanks, RJ.
Great. Thank
It's
you, guys.
interesting if Todd is saying that it technically would be a violation because there's only on those lanes. There's no way then that you could go on Paradise Drive or to the shopping center because you can the only choices are only 101 south and only 101 north. So apparently there's no way to go east on that. So I do hope somebody will take care of that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, James. We're gonna go to Martha next.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking my call. So I actually have a question about CPR. I know that, with COVID, everything is slowly being changed, but last year it was an option that was offered free to the residents. And for those of us who work with children, it's something that we have to keep updated. So I'm wondering if it's actually going to be offered. We've been told that it might be possible, but I don't know who to reach out to find out about that.
Rebecca, is that you? I just saw an email. I think I just got a notification about COVID-safe CPR classes. Rebecca, can you jump in here, please?
I am looking up the post right now. It's actually the item that you can see on our first news flash right now when you go to townofcortemadera.org. It is not free this year, but it is significantly subsidized. And there's a $25 non-refundable registration fee for Corte Madera residents and $60 for non-residents. And it states that this type of class normally costs $125 to register for, not including certification. We have a very limited number of spots in this reduced capacity that we need to be cognizant of, and we're going to have it, I believe, at the community center very well spaced out. I don't know if there's anything else I can share with you other than it is on our website, and the date is.
And Martha, if you go on our website and you're not able to find it, just email any one of us and we can go ahead and send you the link.
Okay, I could do that. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure thing. Martha, my email is ebeckman@tcmmail.org.
Saturday, October 10th is the date of the class.
Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No problem. Thank you, Martha. Alrighty, and we don't have any other hands up right now. We've got about 10, 11 minutes left. So if anybody has any other questions or comments that they want to go ahead and share, now is a great time. I also just realized I was remiss in not saying we have our registration open right now for our September rent assistance program. So if you have lost your income due to COVID and you're having trouble making your housing payments, whether it's rent or mortgage, we don't want anybody to go homeless due to COVID. So we have a program where we're helping residents with their rent if they've lost their income due to COVID. We're really grateful. The Corte Madera Community Foundation has partnered with us on that and has donated I think like $25,000 both this month and last month. So really grateful to them, but that program is going on. So go to our website and is that still in the newsflash, Rebecca? Is that on the carousel? Perfect. So you'll see it in the little rotating newsflash carousel on our website, and you'll see a link where you can go ahead and look at the eligibility requirements and apply. So if you're at risk, please take advantage of that resource. We definitely don't want anybody to lose their home. Peter's got his hand back up here, so we will get him on. Rebecca, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention the deadline for applications is Monday, September 14th.
Thank you.
And if you, mailings did go out to the same mailing list that it went out to last time, including people that received the grant in the previous round. And if you did receive a grant in the previous round, you only need to complete the cover sheet and application and not submit all the other required documents, as we still have them on file.
Great, thank you. So, you know, even if nobody who's on this call is in need of that help, you may know somebody who is, so please go ahead and help us get the word out. And with that, we'll go to Peter and then Jonna.
Yeah, just on the homeless situation, I noticed as I was driving down Tamalpais the other day when it was 108 out and we had that horrible air quality, that I saw a number of homeless people, one of which was the gentleman who was kind of, you know, sleeping on the bench at Town Park. And I'm wondering if the town or the county has a more active outreach programs to those folks, particularly given the horrible air quality plus this horrendous heat.
Yes, the answer is yes. At any given time, we have 7 to 12 individuals in our town that are homeless. And I'll tell you that the ones that want assistance from us, they are known by name by our officers. They are provided all the county assistance, and it's available to them, and some take it and they're provided that assistance, and others, again, the 7 to 12 that fluctuate in our community, choose to. And so our you know, both our staff and the police department are very aggressive with reaching out to them and making sure they're okay. And I think I know the gentleman you're speaking of, and he was contacted twice the other day by our staff and provided assistance if he so wished.
Great, appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a good point though, Peter. I was just driving through town the other day when it was, you know, 100 plus, and I saw a homeless man walking down the street and just baking in the sun. And it's, you know, it's really tough that, you know, these folks who are already so vulnerable don't have anywhere to, you know, we can all, you know, scurry into our houses or whatever and get out of the heat. And these folks are much, it's much harder for them to find shelter. So thank you for raising that point, Peter. And I think we all agree that it's really important that we take care of, you know, the most vulnerable residents in our community. So thank you. We'll go ahead and go to Jonna. And then if there are no other hands, we may wrap up a little early.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I always wait until the end because I'm eternally hopeful that other people will bring up the issues that I have on my mind and I won't have to jump in. Earlier today, I was in a Zoom meeting of about 20 local residents who were informed that the new rules, either handed down by the county or the state, are that people over 65 are not allowed to divert from sheltering in place, not allowed to go to restaurants or other places where they might be exposed to COVID. And I'd like to get a little clarification on that because I haven't seen it in writing anywhere. And I know you are as sort of perplexed as the rest of us are in regard to what the state is requiring, and then what the county is doing to comply with the state requirements, and then what the town is doing to comply with all the requirements. But what I want to know is everybody under 65 required to shelter in place unless they are going for essential services such as medical attention or food or exercise, or are we allowed to go to outdoor restaurants as well?
Well, Jonna, that's news to me because I haven't heard that.
Yes.
I've stayed up on it. Anyone else on the team that wants to jump in there? I think what the conversation has been of, you know, those that are high risk categories of giving, you know, there's been discussions of just best practices of things to consider, but actually like an enforcement by law, I have not heard, you know, the shelter in place. And again, it's the state. So from now on, because it hasn't always been that way, the county had more restrictive rules than the state. They can't have less restrictive, but they had more restrictive. But going back, you know, 6 weeks or so, and moving forward, the county health official has said, we will mirror the state so that you don't have these two sets of rules to try to figure out, and then us trying to like make it more restrictive. We're not, we're all staying consistent with the state. And I can tell you that that's not, I haven't seen that. That's not the case. And so I'm just wondering who said that? Where did you get that information?
I just soon not tell.
Okay, yeah, that's no. And think about that. Could you imagine us as Central Maryland Police Authority going out there and going, "Excuse me, man, how old are you? Can I see your driver's license?" I mean,
Well,
give me a break. Like that's just not.
I think we all need clarification on it.
Yeah. Well,
We
I just
all
gave it
need-
to you.
Those of us who are trying to do the right thing and obey all the rules want to be sure we're not going to get tagged for breaking some state rule. I understand it's something that's just come down from the state, so it would be helpful if everybody knew, because those of us who try to comply with all the rules want to know exactly what's required. Thanks so much for everything you guys do, and I love these opportunities to hear what's going on. I wish more people tuned into it.
Thank you, Jonna.
Thanks, Jonna. And boss, just one last thing, you know, because I have David Himes on the call, I got to get it in. We talked today, census. So the census, we did another mass kind of media blitz last week. Thanks, Rebecca and Lorena, for that. We now have 82.6% rate of return. So that ranks us out of, I believe there's 479 cities and towns in the state. We're currently tied with 17. We're 17 out of 479 in response rates. So we're going heavy. Hopefully we have a little bit more time. It's not too late. This is important to the town. We receive funding based on census information. And so our community has taken it serious, but we want to keep going. We're #1 in the county and we're tied for 17 in the state. So good job, community, for your responses, and keep them coming. We still have a little more time.
Great. That is great. Awesome. Thank you, Todd, and thank you, David, for always bringing up that important point there. It's 5 o'clock now, so we're going to wrap up. Lucinda just put her hand up, so we'll get her on in case she has one last real quick comment, and then we'll wrap up.
Never mind. I don't want to take your time. Let's take it next time. Thank you.
Okay, or you can email us if you want. Okay, Lucinda, thank you. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much to everybody who joined us and asked some great questions, raised some great points. These are always so great, and I'm so glad that we moved it to this 4 o'clock time slot, because we're getting such better turnout now. So thank you guys for all joining us. Please make sure your friends know that we do this every Tuesday where there's no council meeting. So that means the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of the month. We're here at 4, totally open to the public, so we're always happy to answer any questions. Thank you to all the staff for taking the time to be here with us. And we will see you guys. We've got a council meeting next Tuesday at 6:30. And then the following Tuesday, we'll have another one of these at 4. So hope to see you guys at our council meeting, if not sooner. All right. Bye, everyone.